Assalamu alaikum. I am Naaila and I am a contributing counselor here with About Islam. As always, you know that we're going to talk about all things that have to do with relationships. Okay, I'm going to go to my questions. You guys sent in some hot, heavy questions for me for today. Assalamu alaikum, Sultana. Assalamu alaikum, Bridget. From Bangladesh. That's a long way away. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Wa alaikum salam. So happy to have you with us. Wa alaikum salam, Nadia. Thank you so much. That's such a nice, sweet greeting. That was so nice, so early in the morning. It's early here. It's like 9 a.m. here. To me, that's early. That's early to me. Indonesia. Ooh, wow. That's far. That's a long way away. So glad you're here with us, Nutty. What time is it there? Is it cold? It's cold here. It got really cold here. I'm in the south. I'm right next to Florida. But it got really, really cold here. Y'all, it's 8:30. It's 8:30 p.m. You're already working on the very next day, inshallah. Yes, so you're a long way ahead of me. I'm just getting my day started. Good. Thank you so much for being here, for taking out your time to be here. Was it Shema? Am I saying it correctly? Shema? I think it's always important, especially for Muslims, to say someone's name correctly because, for us, names have meanings. And I want to be respectful of those things. I'm loving the hearts. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to talk about things in dealing with relationships, in regard to marriage, in regard to family, in regard to the relationship with yourself. I already have a couple of questions. If you have questions of your own, of course you can present them here or you can put them in the message box and I'm going to get them. I've got my great team at About Islam who will assist me, or I can see it myself. All right, so y'all ready? Y'all ready for the stuff that came in for today? I pray that Allah helps me to help these people with an answer. Inshallah. Okay, so the first one, she says, I got married to a man who has a child and he lives in Washington, D.C., and I live in the Los Angeles area. We had originally agreed to live in D.C. Now I'm expecting a baby too, and I'm no longer feeling like moving is the right choice for me or my baby. I have a ton of family here, a good job, and he hasn't been supportive so much in the past 9 months, financial or emotional, and I don't feel like he'll be any better over there. I don't want to lose my support system or the family for the baby. Am I being selfish? Or rather, do I have the right to ask he consider moving over here and say his son can visit anytime? This is a tough one because there's the pool of motherhood and then there's the fear of not having stability, right? And then there's the ties of kinship. But the first thing here is that there's someone else to consider. And there's a husband there that you have to consider. And that you have a ton of family there. And you have a good job there. Those are things that are about you. Now, I get how you don't feel secure in what he's been offering you financially or emotionally within the last 9 months. However, and I don't know if you said anything to him about that, but the solution to your problem is for you to be able to get that from him, because you're going to want that regardless of where you live. If you live in LA, if you live in DC, wherever you are, that part of you isn't going to change. As a matter of fact, once the baby comes, there'll be an additional stretch. There'll be an additional person who will also need him as well. And you're going to have another expectation of him as a father. That part hasn't even happened yet. So my first suggestion to you is that you make the request for what it is that you want financially and emotionally, and you are clear about it. That you are clear. This is the first way that people do not have their needs met. They talk a lot about how they feel. They say what it is that they don't like about a situation, but they don't always let another person know, this is what I want you to do. You need to let him know what it is that you want him to do, or you want to see him doing. And let that be clear. What behavior is it that you are looking for from him? Are you being selfish? I'm going to say this. I'm not going to call you selfish, but this is the part of marriage that it can be such a big transition for many people, and that is marriage requires so much selflessness. Marriage requires you to think about the other person, because I've heard you talk about your family and your job and how you feel there's another person here. And you said, I don't want to lose my support system. Your husband is supposed to be a support system. And you might have to show him how you want to be supported. Because this is also his child as well. So and then next, yes, the two of you have the opportunity to consider him moving there. That's something that's an option for you. For whatever reason, that wasn't the one that the two of you chose, but why not? You can put it back out there on the table and see what you and your husband can come up with and what the two of you can agree to. But none of this is going to be totally about you. There's someone else here to consider. Okay, so who did we have? We have Samuel Lincoln. We have someone from Ghana. Okay, all right. We have Joanna from Louisiana. Wa alaikum salam, Joanna. Thank you so much. All right, then thank you, William, for joining us. Oh, I love it. I love it when I see all you guys joining so early. Well, again, so early in the morning for me, Naaila. I'm not a morning person, people. So thank you for being here. I'm going to go on to the next question. It says, I am a married student and I have a question regarding my relationship with my parents. Parents is always a sensitive one. As my parents have no issue with my wife, but they use bad language with me. And even my wife doesn't know anything about it. My parents are actually angry with me about my job, as I'm a student struggling to get a good job. But fortunately, I'm not getting that. And due to the acts of my parents, I get so much mental stress that I just remain disturbed. Please suggest to me some solutions. Even though my parents are not understanding my situation, but day by day it gets worse and I'm struggling for the job. Please tell me, is it allowed to remain somewhere away from them? You know, so much respect and honor is owed to our parents. You know, and we know this in regard to Islam. And then there are the cultural parts, depending on what culture we come from, that reinforces this respect and this honor and love of parents, regardless of what it is that they do. And then we have our own expectation from our family regarding our parents within our own family unit. Now, I just listed 3 things. that dictate how we are supposed to respond to parents. And all of them are very, very strong. And when you don't, you can get a lot of shame and judgment and even guilt about not doing it correctly. But the thing that many times that never comes into play is whether or not our parents are treating us well. And I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. Parents, they take care of us when we are helpless and we cannot do anything for ourselves. Alhamdulillah. And may they be rewarded for this generosity and this care. But parents are also human beings on a journey for themselves, and sometimes they do not show up in our lives as the best and the most supportive human beings for where and it's wrong. It's wrong to say these things about your parents. You can't say these things. Well, the thing is that it's true. It is true that sometimes parents do show up. Not sometimes, all the time. Parents show up as imperfect human beings because they are. They are imperfect human beings. And that doesn't give anyone an excuse or reason to speak badly to you, to use bad language with you. We also have to be mindful that parents do show up imperfectly. And so I'm going to give you a couple of things. I know that you're looking for a job and it hasn't happened for you yet. I'm never going to pull anyone away from the power of Allah, the night prayers. If we want something, there is so much power in the night prayers. The first thing I'm going to suggest is to get up during the night and to go to Allah and to ask for what it is that you want during the night when He comes down to the lowest heaven and He listens to His servant, to make your plea known to Allah. Secondly, in regard to the mental stress, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you protecting yourself, protecting your sanity, to protect your wholeness. Allah, He tells us to protect ourselves from oppression, from receiving it, from giving it. And we are supposed to seek a good word, even if it is, seek good, even if it's from against ourselves. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you setting limits, respectful limits with your parents, so that you can have the mental space and the mental capacity that you need to be healthy. We do need boundaries. We do need areas where people shouldn't go with us. And so yes, you do have the right to protect yourself, to the other thing I'm going to suggest to you, and I don't know if you have someone that you can speak with, that you respect, that you can trust, that might be a sounding board for you. It sounds like your wife doesn't know. And that may be, while your wife may be a good comfort for you, it may also be difficult to have this conversation with her. I get it. I understand. You may want to consider doing some journaling, doing something to put these feelings somewhere, to go ahead and be able to say them, to confess them, to be able to tell your narrative about what it is that's going on, and then to be able to get it off of you somewhere. And of course, if nothing else, there is always just being able to tell Allah. Inshallah, you'll be able to find some assistance in those things, that I've said. Okay, I'm going to go to the last question for today. Okay, I was divorced and I got married last year to someone I met online. My husband loves me, or at least he shows me he loves me. I'm really confused, but because he's very into himself and self-obsessed. At times, he would completely ignore me and he won't listen to what it is that I have to say. Whenever I approach to talk to him, he would be so connected to his phone that he'll say that he's listening, but he's not. And I have a big issue with him whenever I wanted to talk to him about something. It has to be an important topic to get to the point to talk to him at all. And for me, all of this was a bit emotional. I want to connect with him on an emotional level and not just physical. And he doesn't understand that. Whenever I explain this to him, he says, I am talking to you. Don't I talk to you? There's a lack of emotional connection between he and I. It doesn't seem like he doesn't understand or that if he cares, and I'm in so much pain. As a woman, I need emotional support from my husband, and when I go to him, he closes his ears and he says, oh, not that again. And it's now I'm always thinking something negative about him. I know that I'm wrong, that now I've started thinking about my ex-husband. I know I've been a really horrible wife to my ex-husband, and we had so many problems. But the problems were very severe and it ended in divorce. Now, as a wife to my new husband, I'm loving and I'm caring and I do everything I can to make him happy, everything possible. But from his side, he's loving physically, not emotionally. And he doesn't show me a lot of empathy. He's also very controlling and demanding. He has anger issues, and most of all, his ego is the worst part of him. Now I'm thinking he's using me for immigration purposes, or he married me for the wrong reasons. I'm confused, or maybe I'm thinking wrong. Is karma playing with me? I'm missing my ex, and I know I'm wrong, and how do I get over it? How do I talk to him so that he can listen and he can understand me? And I'm now thinking getting married to him was a really bad decision. Ooh, that was packed, wasn't it? A lot of things. Lots of things in there. All right, so let me go back to it because I got to pick out which one. Where are we going to go first? First, I want us to be mindful that, Allah, He tells us in the Quran that He creates the love between a husband and wife. And while you want an emotional connection, that emotional connection, even that is a gift and a mercy and a blessing from Allah. Now, there are some things that we also have to do to be able to create it. And it does definitely sounds like for you having conversation and having reassurances from your husband is something that would be helpful for you. And that doesn't sound like right now you're getting it, but those are things that you need. How is it that you get your husband to realize that and so that he can do it? He may not understand what it is that you need because he's a different person. But regardless of whether or not he understands, you do want him to be empathetic and to respond to what your needs are because he loves you. That's what happens in a marriage, right? So one of the things that you might want to consider is professional counseling. I do know that there are those who are very resistant to counseling, especially men. I'm just going to say it. Men are the worst about coming to counseling. I can tell you that as a counselor. Now, what happens in that is that when you have someone where we won't go get help, however, you and I together are contributing to this brokenness. And I want us to look at it like it's a broken leg. If the leg is broken and you and I have broken the leg together somehow, either we're going to work to find a way to heal the leg, or we're going to work to continue breaking the leg. And so, and this is the part where that you are going to have to look at, one, your own contribution, and then two, who you're working with. Do you have someone who's willing to work toward healing what is broken, or are they going to continue working toward the brokenness? Because that might be where you are. You're at either one of these places. And I don't get to pick where your husband is. You don't get to pick where your husband is. He gets to pick where he is, just like you get to pick where you are. If you won't do it, consider going to someone who he trusts, who he may be willing to listen to. Sometimes people can hear what it is that we're trying to say from another person. Sometimes another person can put those words together in a way that connect, where the person really can be able to hear it in a way you just weren't able to say it. It happens, mashallah. However it is that he gets it, the thing is that he gets it, and that he begins to give you the care that it is that you want. I'm going to be sure that I don't miss any of your questions. But those are the two things that I would suggest in regard to the thoughts that you're having about your ex-husband. I mean, it's natural to have some self-doubt, to have some questions about whether or not you made the right decision. However, you will need to focus in on the marriage that you have chosen to be in, the marriage that is in front of you. Because, the whispers of Shaitan are busy and they're strong. And putting your thoughts into a marriage that no longer exists is definitely not going to be the thing that's going to assist this marriage. So the same way that I said, do you have a husband who wants to contribute to the healing or contribute to the brokenness? Well, that goes for you too. Thinking about what you may have done right or wrong with your last marriage, and thinking about your ex is not going to help you in the present. There's not going to be anything but very much you can do right now with that. Now, the other thing is that you did say you met online. I don't know how well the two of you knew each other. I have seen very often where people meet online and they take that virtual relationship and they take it and they don't take it into the real world. The way that people have a courtship and a communication online, this is not how you do marriage. And sometimes we actually develop a fondness for the person that we met online. And then the person that we meet in real life, the real person that we really didn't know so well, we find, I don't really like you so much. There are some things that we have to do to ensure that we know someone before we marry them. With technology, look at us right now. This is a group of people from all over the world meeting. People are going to meet online. However, you have to be realistic. The same things that you do when you meet someone in person, you need to do that with someone that you meet online. You need to do them. You need to look at them. You need to meet them. You need to see family. You need to see how they live. You need to see as much as you possibly can about their lifestyle before you marry them, as if they were local. And if you can't because of distance, if you can't because of money, if you can't because they're resistant, for the rest of you who are considering such a marriage, you need to leave them alone. I see this so much in my profession. And so, again, here we have this young lady who has met someone who she doesn't feel is compatible for her, is meeting her needs. And so again, I'm going to ask, I want you to really look at how much did you know about this person before you married them? And it may be that now that this person that you see now, that this is who he is. And if this is who he is, unless, inshallah, Allah is surely the turner of hearts. Unless Allah turns his heart and yours as well, this may be who he is, and you will have to make some decisions. All right, so I'm going to check to see if you have any additional questions for me since I have been here. Okay, I'm not seeing any. And thank you all so much. Yes, I love that. Allah burdens not a soul beyond his or her scope. Isn't that so true? He knows exactly what it is that we can handle. And there's so much comfort in that. I know though, sometimes we go through things and it's like, Ya Allah, Allah believes that he knows, not believes, Allah knows that we have something in us sometimes that we don't even believe that we have within us because of the things that he tests us with. And that is so, so true. But thank you all for joining here today. Thank you all for the hearts. Please share this. If you have questions for the scholar, there is a link here where you can be able to present your questions to the scholar, because I am surely not an Islamic scholar. Thank you all so much. May Allah grant you favor, and may he allow you to enter Jannah from any gate you choose. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.